So today I brought around my 2016 Toyota Tundra. We'll be installing a suspension leveling kit. So first off, the reason we are going to install a leveling kit is because most of our manufactured trucks come with the front end just raked about 2 inches lower than the back. The suspension leveling kit is pretty simple. It just adds basically a spacer to the front suspension and it installs fairly easily. We're going to take some measurements. I'll show you the difference with how this comes factory. So on the front wheel, this shows between the wheel and the actual fender well, I have 4 inches of clearance. Now we'll check the back. Here on the back of the truck, I have 7 inches of clearance. That's quite a difference. All right, so I picked up everything I need for doing this job at Flashark Racing. I picked up these upgraded upper control arms, which has the included added angle to help with the actual lift, as well as the actual 2-inch lift spacers, either bent out of aluminum, that go in between the coil spring and the chassis of the truck. So these control arms are fully serviceable, and you can actually unscrew this top here and give you access to the bleeder for the grease valve fitting for each ball joint. Each control arm is clearly marked with a left and a right side just to make installation that much easier as well. Flashark Racing includes a complete website dedicated to all the parts that they sell for your vehicles. Flashark also makes complete exhaust kits for just about any vehicle you can think of, as well as these suspension kits, as well as other items. They were also kind enough to give us 15% off, so if you enter SG15, you can get a 15% off in your next order. So simply enough, this is all we need for this job. We're gonna get the truck in here, we'll get it jacked up and the wheels off of it, and we'll get right to work. All right, first look in the wheel well. This is the upper control arm that we'll be removing. This is the upper ball joint that can't handle the extra angle from this being pushed down. And then our 2-inch spacer will go right in here, which will give us the lift that we need. So next up, we gotta start breaking down the brake lines off of here and the top half bolts. So I've broke my ball joint loose and got that nut, the crown nut off of there. I've got all the top hat bolts off. And the back bolt, it's a through bolt for the upper control arm, and it is coming out as one full bolt and hitting some stuff under the hood, so I'm gonna have to get under there and fish that through. So to sneak this upper control arm bolt out of here, there was this one 8mm nut or stud that stuck out here. I just cut that off with my hacksaw, and it made just enough space that now we can pull this out the rest of the way. So we get that bolt out of there, we can get rid of our stock upper control arm, and then we can move on to getting the coilover out. Now with the coilover removed, we can drop on our lift blocks, use the same nuts you took off your factory setting, and bolt all 4 bolts back down. Now on the top side, you'll use the included hardware to bolt through the actual spring perch into these blocks. Okay, so I've muscled this thing back into place, and a good technical note is on the top of this spring hat, it says out, and when you rotate this to make up for that new bolt pattern, it puts everything over here. What's down and below puts the same problem. It threw that lower eyelet at an angle, so you just had to twist it to the right diagonal and make it bolt back through. So now that that's on there, we can get the upper control arm back on. All right, so that's a wrap for this side. I'm gonna go over on the other side and repeat the same process. Unfortunately, getting this top bolt out on the passenger side was much more difficult. It's got this really big washer right here. As you can see, I had to cut that wedge off of it just to make clearance to slide it out because it did interfere with the frame. And I did have to come in here with this little cutoff wheel and do that, which was the only difficult part. But now this is out of the way, we can continue to break the suspension down. Okay, so I just put the wheels back on there, and immediately you can notice the front end looks just as high as the back end. Now we're going to back it out of here and see how it does on a first test drive. Alright, so immediately that looks way better. The stance of this truck matches perfectly. Let's get right to the measurements. So this thing initially was 4 inches. I now have 6.5 inches of clearance on the front, which matches the back. Compared to that 4 from earlier, that's way better. Additionally, I'm running these Bridgestones 275 60/20s, and initially they were rubbing on either side of the wheel wells, and since putting on the lift on here, they no longer do that. All right, so that wraps up this fun little weekend project. I'll leave a list of all the products I'll use in the description below, as well as the discount code for an extra 15% off from Flashark Racing. Thanks as always for watching. Hit like and subscribe, and I'll see you in my next video.